when someone goes, by the way, I'm already doing this, look at the publications, look at the additional pilot data, look at the abstract I submitted, look at the award I got from ACSM or the Nutrition Society or, you know, your different, look at this. All of a sudden that reviewer's going, holy cow, they think this. They said they did really good, and they're going to do this. We need to fund this person by the time you're at the end of that paragraph, right? Then you respond to your critique at the bottom. So some people organize it like this, by the different sections. Some people organize it by like overall groupings of categories that go across investigators. The one thing I want to say, however you organize it, you need to be concise, specific. You need to answer the question directly. The same way you were taught when you were in first grade to write a sentence. When the teacher says to you, Karen, I want to know what color this is. You start the sentence by saying, the color is. Basic, simple grammar, that's how you do it, okay? Don't go off into theories and this and that. Don't start thinking too much or answering too many things. You will notice he did it concise and specific, gave them what they wanted with not a lot of fluff. And things that are small, you don't give a lot of, you don't take something that was super simple, yes, we did it, and turn it into a 4-line answer. Don't do that. It makes it look like a major flaw. So the more you write, the more of a major flaw it looks like to a reviewer. So don't do that. And let's see. So that's your introduction. Your specific aims and the body of your grant are obviously critically important. On your aims page, I have given you an aims page that follows exactly our recipe. You introduce the significance of the problem. You again talk about current treatments and fracture and situation, the lay of the land. You have a little more detail than you have in the abstract here. You spend a lot more time talking about your pilot data here. And then your design and your aims. And then the end is about innovation and contribution. This is the first thing I write. And how long do you think it takes me to write and get a specific aims page correct? I want to hear it. Months?
6 months.
And how many times do you think I revise that sucker?
Oh my God, 25 to 50 times depending on.
That's a few. I have had over 100 revisions of my aims page. Because I don't worry about, once you have this and you have thought through this and you have talked through this and you have the level of certainty and degree and understanding to get every single judicious word and comma right on this page, you know everything else that's going to have to go in here, okay? Talking to people, this is the best document. You just keep beating it up, beating it up, beating it up. People get, you know, what about this? What about that? What about that? Aims, the number of times you change the aims, the content, the aims, the outcome, the wording, word it like this. I used to do things where I would actually literally print this page with my aims different ways. I'd have 3 different versions of it. I'd print all 3 versions when everybody would look at paper copies, and I would lay them out on my desk, and I would tell people to come in and tell me what version do you like best. And so I'd have people say, I like that, and then I'd have consensus. I'm like, oh, this is the one, right? This is the one they all like. And so that's the way I would do it. Got it. And going quick. So the body of the research part, so what I want to do, because I'm going to try to wrap this up pretty quickly, I think the documents I gave you on the study population, the inclusion across the lifespan, the inclusion of women and minorities, they're all in here. And I think those are not so much different from stuff in the past. But for a clinical trial, you do want to look at the part on your study population and your recruitment and retention and your human subjects. So I want to spend a little bit of time focusing, and you can ask me questions about the research strategy, but I want to go to the recruitment and retention section, which in your copy is 158. Thank you, Lori. So if you go to 158, and you also notice that the inclusion of across the lifespan of women and minorities and children, these are not short. We actually put some real time and effort, so make sure you look at those. They used to be you could put 5 lines and they'd let you get away with it. That is not the case anymore. You have to be very, very serious about what you say there. So, recruitment and retention plan. This is a very critical part of a clinical trial. And in this document is where you're allowed to write all kinds of detail about the sites that you're going to recruit from, the staff that you're going to use to recruit, how you're going to recruit a diverse population. If you were going to oversample or things like that, you would definitely be writing it in here. This is where you talk about the patient population that you have available to you that's in the area you're going to recruit from. You talk about how not only your sites and the patients that come through, but your past history of recruiting there is good to have. So in other words, we've gone in here before and we've learned that like out of every 3 people we approach, we're going to get 1 person to say yes to go on our trial. You want those kinds of statistics in there. The people who are doing your recruiting, your recruitment materials. There's just a lot of different things. We have a recruitment program called Mural, which has to help us with recruiting underserved and underrepresented minorities on our trial. We spend a lot of time talking about that. Here's where you're going to talk about whether or not you're going to pay your people and reimburse them for their time and effort on your study. All of that. And you can see there's lots of actual numbers and calculations in there. You have to talk about ways that you're going to troubleshoot. If you start trying to recruit and it's not working, what are some things that you have thought about that you can do to try to assuage that, or how you're going to redirect and reorient along the way. If you've done clinical trials in the past, how successful have you been at doing those clinical trials in the past? And then what are you going to do once you get them to go on the study to keep them on? And also in this section, you talk a little bit about your IRB approvals and your IRB section and all of that. And then the last section, a lot of this you could read, look at the study timeline. That's no longer just a little table. You actually have to talk about what you expect to happen, and you have to have plans if you fall off your timeline for how you're going to get back on your timeline. For those of you who have never seen enrollment tables, you're going to want to fill out the enrollment table. This is projected based on your patient population in your area. You never really know what it's going to be. You're guessing, but it's an educated guess. And then protection of human subjects. Nice long section, which has got a lot of stuff in it about data analyses. It's got all of your eligibility criteria laid out. It's got all the information about your intervention laid out, risks and safety, how you plan to mitigate the risks and safety of all of that. Again, here there's a little bit of stats and like whether we're oversampling or not oversampling for special populations. Again, in here you're talking about the activity schedule that you're going to have people on, so all the measures. Why is that important under human subjects? Because every measure that you have them do places a person at risk. So you want to make sure that the measures that you're having them do, you understand the risks, that you state them here, that they're going to be explained, and eventually in the consent form that the individuals are going to sign. Again, that whole last section, study procedures, materials, and sources of risk are all in there. There's the process flow, so we talk about safety and risk in terms of protecting information. This is about how all my information gets from one site to us at the University of Rochester and how we store it and protect it in there. Same with physiological data. And I know that, let's see, I have 15 minutes over. So what else can I answer? I think the one thing I want to say is if you want an individual copy of these, we want to make sure you get them. The single best thing I can do is give you these today, all right? And to see what the level is that goes into these ancillaries is surprising to a lot of people. So I just gave you all the ancillaries for a really spectacular RO. That's my gift to you today.
And on campus, I'm happy to serve. I've been through this. I've written this. And with her expert example, I'm happy to sit down with you and talk through any of these documents. And we've got other examples. Esther is wonderful about providing. Most of us who've written things like this, I often get asked, hey, can I share this with, can we share this with other investigators? We're happy to do that. So between Esther and I, we're here as a resource with some of the clinical trial documents. So I saw her shaking her head over there.
Yeah, we have a very extensive library. We don't post it on the website because we've only asked permission to share with other HHS faculty, so you just have to ask me for it and I can share it, but we don't have it broadly disseminated beyond HHS.
Yeah, and I would only ask that you don't like scan PDFs of these yourself and start rolling them out to people. Dr. Popone agreed to let me make paper copies of these, and there's a reason why I gave them to you in paper instead of in a PDF. So, keep your paper copy, but don't make an electronic copy of this and don't start sending it out to all your friends. This is for you, because you
People make
came.
mistakes of using something like this as a template, and it really doesn't work, because everything's got to be in your own words. But to see an example of it done well is just, there's nothing that replaces it. So Karen, thank you so much. You're right.
I was worried that I wasn't gonna have enough to talk about, and I'm like, now I'm thinking, I wish we had 2 more hours.
That's right. Well, we can send a videotape your way and get that, and we'll bring it back to the group. So I'm just. Esther was the other person I introduced you to this morning, who wasn't able to come at the beginning, but Esther, thanks again for your support of this workshop. You had something you want to say?
I want to just very briefly say, wow, what a great couple of days we've had. Sandy has really worked Karen. I think there are like 5 events total in the 2 days. It's
Something
amazing.
like that.
My head is swimming. So thank you to you.
You're welcome.
But I also really wanted, on behalf of HHS, to say how much I appreciate Sandy for organizing. Organizing an event like this takes a lot of work. Under the best of circumstances, dealing with it during COVID and not knowing who to be in person, what are we going to do, and navigating all of that is terrific. And Dean Matacola and I are really grateful to you, and we're just so excited about the new direction and programming in the Center for Women's Health.
And we do have one more event, and unfortunately it's for women only, for you guys in the room, I'm sorry. But if you're here and you didn't sign up for that, you're welcome to stay. We'll have a little pizza. Karen's just going to share a little bit more just of her story and her journey. It's just going to be very casual, okay? And just the time to network and the social media. All right?
Thank you all so very much, and I wish you the ultimate best of luck in your work.
Yeah, thank you.